get the views, please? Can someone give me the fucking views? There's danger, there's a fire. Give me some fucking views. God fucking don't get fucking. So this is going to be another trick that falls under the basic beginner bitch booty category because it's not one that requires a lot of effort. And I know, again, you might dismiss it because you have a big dick and you're better at magic than I am. But I do recommend for you to try it at least once. It's a simple trick. It's good, but it gets the job done. It gets them wet, and it gets them hard, and it gets them lubricated, and it gets them ready for insertion. So because of that, this deck could be mixed. It could be shuffled. It can't be borrowed, though, unless you have a couple minutes in the bathroom, in the loo, as they call it in my country. But either way, you have the deck mixed and shuffled, and you have them think of a card. Of course, it's not going to be any card. You after the mix, you have them think of one of the top 5 cards here. I'll tell you what, we live dangerously. You can make them think of any of the top 6 cards right here. So they can think of any one of those cards, and let's say they think of whichever one here. Just leave that to your imagination. This packet gets mixed into the deck, and we could proceed from here. Now, of course, this is a trick that's going to be all about them. So it's important that you involve them as much as humanely possible for this trick. So what happens is that we're going to need some sort of magical moment here. Give me a minute. I'll get some magical pixie dust here that I could put on the deck to hopefully make this procedure actually work. So give me a second. Give me just a. So you just hit it. When you hit it with the saw, what should happen is that makes the magic happen, and it needs to be a burning saw. It needs to be a saw that's red hot because this ensures that you get the YouTube views. That sweet, sweet YouTube revenue. So if it's not on fire or glowing red, which hopefully I should be able to do in post, then you're not doing it right. You just smack it, and then that should be enough for the magic to happen. So you give them the deck, and you have them actually spell out the card that they were just thinking of. They haven't said anything out loud. They haven't really said anything because, again, they probably don't have the ability to. But you have them spell to the card that they're thinking of, which let's say they were thinking of the 6 of clubs. And at this point, they spell it out the only way they know how. So they're going to get the deck and they're going to go, C-O-U-B-F. So they spell 6 of clubs in the only way that they know how. And of course, when we get to the last card, that is the card that they were just thinking of. Am I the only one here? Am I the only one that just saw that right there? A fucking glowing hot saw. Give me that fucking YouTube views. Give me those thousands of fucking YouTube views. Red hot saw. Magician finds fucking playing card. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. That's a fucking thumbnail right there. That's a fucking thumbnail if I've ever seen one. Let me just fucking get the lighter in there. Fuck yeah, dude. Look at this. Yeah. Fucking YouTube views right there. So this trick is actually not that hard to do. I'll do this because a lot of people were bitching about the last tutorial that I put out. Why don't you do a tutorial? And I was thinking, oh, maybe I could do like a performance one day and make some sort of like put extra effort on that and then do like the explanation the next day. But people were just like, what are you going to explain? What are you going to explain? So I'm going to do this the huge format today where I'll explain it afterwards. So you need a little bit of a setup. So the top cards that you need are the 6 of clubs. You need the 10 of hearts, the king of spades, the 8 of hearts, the jack of diamonds, and the 8 of diamonds. The reason you need these cards are because when I was about 10 years old and I got one of my first magic sets, it brought this little booklet. I think what was his name? He's probably dead now. Marshall Brodian. That's the name. If you guys know that name, props to you. But this particular trick comes from that little black and white pamphlet where I think the quote was, "It's easy when you know the secret," or which is some fucking bullshit like that. That guy's dead, so let's see where that has led him. But this is the setup you need: 6 of clubs, 10 of hearts, king of spades, 8 of hearts, jack of diamonds, 8 of diamonds. The reason you need these cards is because they are spellable by one card afterwards. So once you put 9 cards on top of this setup, what happens is that you could spell to the 6 of clubs or the 10 of hearts or the king of spades any way that you want. So I'll show you guys that now because, of course, you need more of an explanation because fuck it. So because of that, that setup goes on top of the deck and you are ready to go. So this, of course, gets mixed. If you want, you could do that little procedure that I discussed in another video where you can put this face down and have the spectator shuffle individual packets. That's usually not necessary, but if you want to just have the deck mixed beforehand because you have some sort of disorder, then that's one way to go about it. But case in point, you just need these cards to remain on top of the deck. So there's a couple ways that I usually do this. Either I'll just show the top 6 cards and say think of one, and that's it. I mean, there's no easier way to do it. Or sometimes if you're working for a particularly difficult crowd, what you could do is that you could just cut this in the middle, spread to the break, and then pretend as if these cards are just coming from the middle and say, oh, why don't you just think of one of these? Of course, that makes the procedure a little bit different, but it's up to you. You could do whatever you want, assuming that you're not living in a country that's like, you know, Syrians or whatever. But as far as that, you have the spectator think of any one of these 6 cards, and these cards are going to get controlled to the top. You do some sort of false shuffle. But the one thing you do need to do is you need to add 9 cards to the top of the stack. So I like to do it in increments of 3 and then an increment of 6. So the way I do this is that I swing cut onto my left hand, and then I just swing packets over onto my hand, of course maintaining a break above or actually below the packets that I'm dealing. And at some point what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up this whole thing, slide over 3 cards, and then continue off doing swing cuts, of course maintaining the break. So what that does is that puts 3 cards above the setup. So that's the first 3. Then when I'm done, I slap the whole thing on top, maintain a break here, and I do an overhand shuffle. So I just pick this up, put this half like this, and begin to do an overhand shuffle. At some point when I'm done with that, all I'm going to do is slide over 3 cards followed by 3 cards. How many cards is that? That's 6 cards. Yes, that's right. So you slide over just 6 cards. So right now your setup should be, you should have 9 cards. So that's 6. That's 9 followed by your setup. So that right now, each and every single card in that little stack is ready to be dealt with. So if you deal, for example, 6 of clubs, that's S-I-X-O-F, fuck it, C-L-U-B-S, and it lands on the S. If it was 10 of hearts, which is the next card, you could say T-E-N-O-F-H-E-A-R-T-S right there, and it's the 10 of hearts. And that works for the king, for the 8, for the jack, all the way up to the 8 of diamonds. Now the cool thing is that if you've memorized this little stack, you can actually know how many cards they deal. Then you could actually reveal to them before they turn over the card what the card that they dealt with was. So they deal the cards, you're just counting along. If you memorize them, you could just count along and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if you know that it's 9 cards that they put down, you know their card is the 6 of clubs. If it's 10 cards that they put down, you know it's the 10 of hearts. And whatever way you want to memorize that, that's not up to me. That's up to you. Of course, it's up to you to make the magic happen. So that's the trick. It's simple enough. It's a thought of card that they could spell to. They could do it themselves. So it's a great, wonderful trick for all the autistics that you're trying to get to learn how to spell and how to write and how to speak correctly. Lord knows there's too many of them. So hopefully I should be getting some fat YouTube views because of this fucking thumbnail I got right here. So if you guys enjoyed that, just drop some fucking hit that like button. Hit it as hard as you can, because that's what every other YouTuber says. So I'm going to say it too. So I'll be seeing you guys next time. In the meanwhile, I'm going to figure out ways that I could hopefully ejaculate using the saw.
See you again, when I 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 see you again.